You're welcome. And if you want me to tell people to ask questions as you go along, I can do that also.
Please do.
Okay. So hello out there. Welcome to Western Neuropathy Association's monthly webinar. We are very privileged to have Vanessa Kettler. And Vanessa is an expert in fall prevention and balance improvement. She has taught exercise for those older for over 20 years through Santa Rosa Junior College's older adult program. She's the author and developer of the DVD series Building Better Balance. She also authors Balance News, a free email newsletter that focuses on subjects of interest for those older, always from the point of view of aging well through exercise. Amazingly, she is also a professional dancer at age 77. She recently published a new article on conscious walking. One section has special interest for those with neuropathy. She has just transcribed this information in a document that will be provided to the Western Neuropathy members and caregivers, and we will try to get it in the newsletter as well. So you can, Vanessa is open to you asking questions as you go, but also we usually have a question and answer session at the end. So also we'll still focus on that if we have time. And then also just to let you know, in case you have to leave or other people that you know want to see this, we will be recording this, so it'll be available on the website within a week or so. So please feel free to enjoy that as well, and to take the opportunity to see that. So without any further, I will like to introduce Vanessa Kettler. And Vanessa, all yours.
Hi, everybody. Wish I actually could see you. Can't see anyone, or hardly anyone, but that's okay. I'll imagine all these wonderful, bright, shining faces out there with great big smiles on your face, having a wonderful time. Because I will be. I've done quite a few things before with those of you who have neuropathy, and you may be familiar with my work. You may have attended one of my presentations. I'm very involved with balance and fall prevention, and have been for the last 25 years. After teaching so many hundreds and thousands, really, of those older to improve their balance and become more active, I have in the process become aware of the impact that falls can have on our lives, and the catastrophic traumatic impact that even an injury-free fall can have when you're older is so potent that it really serves us well to prevent having falls in any way possible. I actually had a fall myself. Miss Queen of Fall Prevention fell. Yep, I'm guilty. And I was guilty of doing the same kind of thing that, I've heard about so many falls. In the end, in the end analysis, it is almost always something stupid that we do. And myself included, the stupid thing which I did on actually a pivotal day in our history, January 6th, I'll never forget that date for other reasons as well. I was walking out in our neighborhood, and my friend and I were socially distanced, and we were having an animated conversation. I turned around, walked backwards, didn't see where I was going. There was a big crack in the sidewalk. I fell and I broke my shoulder and I crushed my wrist. I needed surgery on my wrist. I've never broken anything before in my life. It has been a really traumatic experience dealing with it and recovering from it. One of the things, by the way, a little bit off, well, never off subject, but a little bit off the subject of today. One of the things that I discovered in this recuperation is what happens with pain and the connection between pain and emotion. I found this is a very painful injury. Shoulder breaks are incredibly painful, and there is not that much that drugs can really do about it. I mean, it's pain all the time. I found that my pain level sharply increased if I was upset. Just that all by itself. If I was upset about either what had happened to me, what I couldn't do now, I'm a dancer. I had to really restrain how I danced for the last 3 months. If I let myself get upset, the pain would almost triple and quadruple. Very strong impact, so strong that I would encourage those of you who are involved with pain to study how to calm your emotions, how to deliberately calm yourself when you're in that experience. It is a very helpful lesson in a lot of life's experiences, actually, when you come right down to it. So I wanted to talk today about two things in particular. One of them is pertinent particularly if you have neuropathy of the feet. Uh, and the other is just something that I have become really fanatical about. I never wanted myself to ever have a fall like that again. Never. I'm never going to have that kind of a fall, because from now on, I am always going to be looking where I'm going. And it's a very, very simple thing. You would be amazed. And this is an exercise that I would encourage you all to try out safely. Always do exercises safely. Hold on to something while you're doing it. Notice how much of the time you're not actually looking where your body's moving. For example, if you're walking through the dining room of your assisted living home, and you see a friend who's sitting there, do you say hello as you're walking? If you just do that, believe it or not, you increase your fall likelihood significantly. And I want to explain a little bit about that in a minute or two. The other major thing that I wanted to talk about is to avoid falls like this. I find that what I have to do is to really learn to walk consciously. And what this means is knowing when I'm walking where my feet are all of the time, knowing where the direction that I'm moving in all of the time, looking in the direction my body's moving all of the time, having a sixth sense connection to the ground. Now, the second part of this presentation has to do with something important for those with neuropathy. Balance is a combination of three senses. It's not a simple sense. There's actually more than three, but three major senses. Each one of these senses provides information to the brain for how the brain should balance itself out, how the brain should stabilize the body. So each of these three things sends data to the central computer. If there's something wrong with the process of any one of the three, then that data is lacking. The brain has less or warped information and can't deal as well with deciding how to stabilize itself in the world that it sees itself in. So you end up feeling a little bit dizzy or unstable when there's a deficit in one of the three. The three senses, the eyes inform the brain where everything is in reality in the rest of the world. And this is a very, very helpful sense. I use my eye focus to balance myself constantly. As a dancer, it is an essential part of dancing. Focusing your eyes wherever you're looking always stabilizes your body and is very helpful when you're having days when you're not feeling up to par. The second sense is the inner ear informs the brain where the head is in space, especially when the head is moving. And as we get older, that particular element of our health depreciates a little bit. We get debris in the inner ear canal, and the messaging system from the inner ear to the brain sends warped messages. So when we turn our head, we end up feeling dizzy because the brain is foggy, doesn't understand. The brain has gotten dizzy. So, and that is a lot of what feeling unstable about is all about, is the brain doesn't have a clear idea of how to correct itself. The third sense is the one that I want to speak about a little bit more today. That's the sense of proprioception. And that is where the nerve endings at the periphery of the body inform the brain where the body is in space. And this is with neuropathy, you often have a depreciation of that particular sense. And you can have it in several different ways. If your feet are numb, which is a very common symptom of peripheral neuropathy of the feet, then the brain is lacking information. It's not getting good data from that third source. So it is definitely, the brain is definitely less happy and feels less stable. If the neuropathy is causing symptoms of pain or searing sensations, then what's happening is the brain is receiving warped information, information that's too loud, that doesn't give it a correct understanding of where the feet really are. So those with neuropathy have a higher likelihood of having falls because of this problem with proprioception. So let me then come back to this first subject before I move on with proprioception. I cannot emphasize how important it is to train yourself. You see, I can talk and give you great ideas, and you can be really happy hearing those ideas, but if you don't practice what I suggest that you do, you will not feel the benefits. And practice is a very, very important aspect of getting older that we really do not appreciate and we don't take advantage of. Practice is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Just the custom of practicing anything in your life, even if it's talking to the difficult doctor's assistant that you want to make an appointment with, any kind of practice is extremely satisfying and is very, very helpful and beneficial, especially involving balance. Balance is all about practice. So we actually need to practice always looking in the direction that we are walking. We need to practice it. The first exercise I want to give you is for 5 minutes or so. I want you to notice where you're moving and where you're actually looking. Notice when you're walking through your room, if your cat is sitting on the counter looking adorable, do you look at your cat while you're walking through the room? That means you're not looking where you're going. In an instant, something can change right in front of you and you don't see it and you trip. So this is exercise number 1. Now, the second thing I want to emphasize is I want you to try, I'm doing this along with you, by the way, I'm one of you. I want us to try to break certain habits. And here's habit number 1. Do not walk and talk at the same time. Stop socializing while you are moving. Socializing is extremely distracting. It takes your attention off of what you're doing, and it takes your vision away from where you're supposed to be looking. If we're talking while we're walking with our companion, we tend to look at them. No, 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 no. No more looking at our friends. If you want to socialize, stop moving. So this is number 1. I want you to really train yourself to no longer talk while your body is moving. There are several habits we need to break. For example, If you have a bottle of water, don't take your bottle of water out and drink your bottle of water while you keep walking. Stop whatever it is you're doing and drink your drink, put your cap back on your drink, put it away, and then walk. We need all of our capabilities for walking. We need all of our concentration for walking. Now, there's a silver lining to everything like this. The more aware we are of these things, the more fantastic life is. Absolutely. The more you see, the more beauty you see. So these are very good ways to grow as we age, to become more aware, to become more deliberate, especially about walking. Now, while you're walking, not only am I encourage you, first of all, I want to repeat again, this is what I am now learning to do so that I don't fall again. So this is my own personal project that I'm suggesting you join me in. So along with being conscious of walking and looking where we're looking, and only walking when we're walking, and only talking when we're talking, along with that goes feeling our connection to the ground. And this is feeling our connection through our feet to the ground. And this is where we need particular help with neuropathy. Now, if you have any decrement in any of the three senses, suppose you have an issue with your sight, what you need to do, or a very helpful approach, is to take all of those other senses that make up balance and increase the use of those. In the case of sight, we actually use sticks. We actually use a walking stick. Well, in the case of deprecation in proprioception, that's a tongue twister. One of the things that we can do is we can use walking sticks. Does anyone and this would be something if someone would like to share when we're asking questions later on, does anyone use walking sticks? Because walking sticks would be very helpful. It would increase your proprioception through a non-traditional means. Instead of through your feet, it's actually through your fingertips. Just like someone who has a loss in vision gets additional information about the environment through a walking stick. So if you have a loss of proprioception, I encourage you to use your eyes more if possible, use other means, which I'll explain in a few minutes if possible. Make sure that your issues going on with vertigo or dizziness are being handled properly. And by that, I mean, turn your head really slowly. Always hold on to something when you are turning your head. Always hold on to something when you are looking up. One of the secrets to getting older, I have found, is, as easy to tell too, I used to have, when I gave presentations in person, people would sometimes come up to me and talk to me about how all the problems they had with dizziness and how they felt so unstable and lightheaded some of the time. And I would, and as I was talking with them, I would notice that it was almost as if they were from Italy. They were talking like this, and they were moving their head around. And of course they were dizzy. As we get older, the more we move our head, the dizzier we get. And there's a nice little clue for you. Keep your head from moving around a lot if you feel unstable. Pardon me. Everyone else take a deep breath too. Let's actually do it together. Boy, I love doing this. This is a great breath, by the way. This is a deep breath technique that's fantastic. Curl your tongue like this. And now breathe in through that curled tongue. Hold your breath. And now exhale slowly through an open mouth. Let's do it one more time. Breathe in through a curled tongue. Hold. And exhale slowly. So continuing with that line of thought, if you have difficulty or feel unstable when you're changing levels, when you're standing up from a seated position, turning over in bed, it is very helpful to restrain, try to keep your head upright. So instead of moving your head down like this, try to keep it up like this. Try to keep your head upright instead of tilting it down or tilting it up. Keep your head upright and move your eyes instead. This is all new material that I just published in my most recent Balance News article. I wrote a newly updated article on where to look when you walk. Very interesting subject that everyone's very concerned about. Also wrote an article on why not to move your head, try to stabilize your head more and how helpful that is in different circumstances. Now to get to the real meat of today's discussion, which is proprioception. How can we improve proprioception? So number one is if you have problems with your feet in any way, either if they're numb or if they're painful, they need more attention, not less. Especially if they're numb, we have a tendency to forget and put our body in our body image in our mind. We tend to eliminate the parts of our body that aren't working well. We tend to eliminate the parts of our body that we can't feel. We should be actually doing the exact opposite, which is spending more time on those parts of the body. And these are things that will improve proprioception, your sense of proprioception. Massage, foot massage. There's a wonderful 3-minute self-foot massage on my website. There's an article on foot health that's easy to find. That massage is in that article. I encourage you to read it and to do it. 3 minutes, it's easy. You just do it along with the video. It's not mine, this is someone else's. It's from a sports medicine facility. It's a wonderful little technique. It's a great thing to do if your feet have problems. Now, with neuropathy, the sensation can be a lack of sensation or it can be a disruption in sensation. If it's a disruption in sensation in terms of pain or discomfort or irritation, you want to have a different attitude about what we're talking about. You want to have a soothing attitude as you massage your feet. If it's numbness that is your symptom, then you want to have an engaging attitude. You want to stimulate the nerve endings in your feet. So it all depends upon your point of view and what you're experiencing, how you need to put a filter through all of these things and what is the best thing for you to do. Massage is fantastic and I strongly encourage it, whether it's to soothe your nerve endings or to stimulate them. Massaging each of the toes, stretching the toes. Take, for example, to everyone with me right now, take your hand out. And I want you to the first thing I want you to do is pull your fingers back one at a time. Pull them back one at a time. Do this with your toes. It's a fantastic thing to do for your toes. Do you know how happy your toes will be, whether they know it or not? And this is a very important thing. The experience of exercise is not dependent upon your feeling it. The body can experience the benefits of the movements and will, whether it's feeling them or not. That is one element of movement. It's not all of it by any means. Now, any kind of exercise that you can do for your hands, you can do for your toes. So here's another great one. Oh, this is such a fantastic thing to do. Even your little toe, you take the end, suppose this is your little toe, you take the end of your toe and you circle it and you go in both directions. And you do that to each one of your toes. This is a great thing to do. Now, another wonderful thing to do is to stretch the joints in your foot, whether you feel your foot or not. One of the sets of joints is in the ankle. Another of the sets of joints is in the ball of the foot. Now, the ball of the foot is a particularly excellent place to develop agility in. It will help you walking more than I can say. It's also the dancer's joint. If you want to know about the joint in the body that dancers care about more than anything else, it's the joint where the toes meet the ball of the foot. If you're standing on tippy toe, you're using that joint. Now, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see me. I'm going to move my chair way back and show you some exercises that I want you to do with me now, if you can. Let's see how this works. Can you see my feet now? Can you see my feet? No. Can you see my feet? Good. Okay, so here we are in a chair. Everyone's sitting on a chair. You've got both feet flat on the floor. This is the best exercise. If I could teach all my dancer friends to do this exercise, I would be in seventh heaven. None of them will do it because you're sitting down. They think you're not a dancer if you're sitting down. They're silly. This is a great exercise. Take this foot. First of all, your foot is under your knee. Take this foot and bring it 1 foot back, way back there. Now keep your heel down and you'll feel a stretch in your calf. Now take your other hand, put it on your knee, lift your back heel up and down, up and down. Can you see it? Up. I wore my gold shoes just so you could see it. Up and down. Good. And do it on both sides. So that is just another exercise that you can do to enhance the ability of your feet to send good messages to your brain. What those kinds of exercises also do, and now the full list of exercises is in the handout that I prepared for you for today. So anyone interested, it's also on my website. It's from an article called Improving Proprioception on the Balance News page of www.building-better-balance.com. So I'll leave it to you to go and find out more of those exercises. Basically, any exercises for your feet are really good for improving proprioception. Things like walking on wet sand barefoot is fabulous for it. Even if you can't feel it, even if you can't feel it, I know it might be hard to understand that, but anything that you do for your feet, you see, increases circulation in your feet, and this has to improve symptoms. It has to reduce difficulty, and if anything, restrain the progress of the problem. Mm. The last thing I want to mention in this regard has to do with picking your feet up. uh, part of this thing that I'm trying to teach now about using your feet to be connected to the ground, almost as if you're an animal that has suction cups on the bottoms of your feet that just feel the ground, feel the ground, feel the ground. So your feet feel the ground as you move. You're really noticing where the ground is and where you are. Along with this goes developing the ability to roll through your feet as you walk. This is very hard to do if you have neuropathy. We have a tendency, if I can demonstrate quickly, we have a tendency to walk like this. So we just, and you know, it's interesting. We walk, we go plop, 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 plop. What I'm trying to encourage you to do is, instead of going boom, 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 to go roll, 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 roll. Now, I wanted to tell you this little story. What I'm trying to teach everyone to do is really basically become more like a dancer. I think if we can develop grace as we age, we've won the game. All you really need to do is to become more graceful. Well, the way you become more graceful is to be aware of every moment. The way you become less graceful is to be staccato. So you move here and then you move here and there instead of moving smoothly. Now, let me tell you a funny story. I produced a dance performance in the 1980s in San Francisco that was really a wonderful performance. And I did this duet with a weightlifter. I was a dancer and she was a weightlifter, and she was spectacular. She was on one half of the stage, I was on the other half. And I was doing a modern dance in those days. And she did this fabulous routine, and she was so spectacular that the person who was filming the performance ended up focusing only on her. You didn't see me at all in the film, just her. And at the end of her section, when her dance was done, instead of gracefully leaving the stage, she dropped her persona entirely and just humped off. And because the film was right on her, it was like this, oh. So what I'm asking you to do is be more graceful as you leave the stage, be more graceful as you walk. And this involves rolling through your feet. So what I mean by that is come in contact with the ground with your heel first, heel, roll through your foot, push off, and then heel comes down. First, roll through your foot and push off. So you develop this rolling motion in your foot. It really is the way it's the way your cat walks. Watch how your cat walks. It's how your cat walks. Cats don't go boom, boom, boom. They're not ungraceful at all, are they? They're the most graceful of animals that I know of. They roll through your feet. So if you can become more conscious of that particular action and practice it, that is actually, that technique is addressed on my videos. I have a series of 4 videos that I produced of 4 balance classes that help people improve their balance with a special emphasis on tips to prevent falls. One of the 4 on legs and feet, walking much more easily, demonstrates that technique and teaches you how to do it. And it's a really, those are fantastic DVDs. I have a whole bunch of people who are just really amazed. There's the one residence near me of several hundred people that have been playing my DVDs during the pandemic. And one of the people involved told me afterwards that she noticed from the beginning of the pandemic to the end of the pandemic, her scoliosis, which had given her great pain, had disappeared. And it was because she was just doing our DVDs, my DVDs, during the past year. So they're wonderful DVDs, and they do demonstrate that particular thing. So involved with proprioception is not only the ability of the feet to communicate, but it is also using the feet in a graceful and sinuous manner. That is part of and parcel of this whole thing. So I think that pretty much does it for me. I would like to just one last little comment, and that is that life is full of so many choices, so many huge numbers of choices. It's the small choices we make that are the most important. It's the choice that we make to do upon rising, to do foot exercises, even though we can't feel our feet. It's that choice. It's that little choice. It's the choice that we decide to take Vanessa's advice and really concentrate on where we're looking. It's all these tiny little choices. It's not the big decisions that are important. It's the small ones. And the small ones, what if you add all those small choices together, you enhance your life so significantly. It is just in really stunning how much effect you can have on your life by taking real action on some of these small things. Just fantastic how much you can actually do. And if you do some of those things, you feel so much better about yourself. You feel great. You feel proud. Life is satisfying. It's a really good way to live. And you have to cultivate it, though. You have to practice it. You have to cultivate it. We've all done that in a lot of different ways during the past year. And it's a very important thing to do. Live life in a positive manner and you enjoy it. Live life in a negative manner and you won't. Comes down to that.
So I want to thank you very much for an excellent presentation and lots of good information that should help people every single day. So we're going to open it up for questions if anybody has any questions. Let's see. So far, I don't have too many. I had one answered question and had to do with how would they access the recording, and that we already said will be for. It's already going to be. It's being recorded, so it'll be on the Western Neuropathy webinar webpage, so people will be able to see it anytime they want. Vanessa, did you want to go again and sort of tell us a little bit about your newsletter and your website and things like that?
Thank you. I'd love to. 7 years ago, I started Balance News, and I've written articles for it almost every month since. There have been some times I've had to take off from it. My husband had an awful accident, and for about 4 months I couldn't write. But then I made up for it during the pandemic. I wrote about 25 articles for the senior community. I'm very, very involved in trying to help people, in particular, not fall, and in doing whatever is necessary. And I come upon in real life all kinds of challenges myself, and I end up writing. I've written over 80 articles on all the different aspects of being older that I've experienced myself, and how to use these experiences to grow instead of to create unhappiness. And I've been really pretty successful at doing that myself. I'm human like everybody else, for sure. And my husband will tell you that. Oh, he's a doll. He's actually a doll. No, he is. We're very happy. We've been together 40 years. We're very, very fortunate. I, I put out new articles all of the time, and the most recent article I've written is on conscious walking. So there's much more information that I wrote about on that subject than I have communicated with you today. So if you can just go to my website and go to the Balance News part of my website, and look at the article on conscious walking, you'll see everything there. You'll also see the article on improving proprioception and the article on head motion, and where to look when you walk. You'll see many, many other articles on issues like chronic depression, fear. I tell you, there's no more potent fear than fear of falling. I have experienced it firsthand myself, and I understand. I really understand the dynamics of it. And fear is the challenge. It's the human challenge, it seems to me. And dealing with fear in a positive manner is very helpful. And I tried to do that. There are so many ways too. There are many. Fear is actually, when you get down to it, fear is really kind of like the skinny little weak guy. Because when you really get down to it, fear backs down as soon as you face it. But it takes some guts to face it, and you have to do something about it. And the doing is what works. So I write a lot about this. This is free, and you can go to my website and sign up for it. You can probably, I bet you folks will refer people to Balance News. If you hear about anyone who wants to sign up, just send their information to me, and I will put you on my list. The next article I'm writing for Balance News, by the way, is on coming out after the pandemic. Coming out after the pandemic and making yourself stronger and less fearful if you're older, and becoming more active. That's going to be my next subject.
So I have some questions.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's see. There's Karen Billings is asking, any techniques for remembering to pick your feet up?
Heel down first.
So I have another, Clyde and Sheila Vaughn want to know, can you post the address of your article? And we're going to be posting that. You mentioned it to your website. We'll have it on the intro to the recording, and then we'll try getting this all in the Western Neuropathy newsletter. So I hope that answers her question also. So another one we have here is, do you know of any effect that tinnitus has on balance, especially with neuropathy, where you have that sounding in your ear?
Well, I certainly would think that it would. It's interesting. First of all, the first thing is that tinnitus certainly affects the transmission of information from the inner ear to the brain. Certainly affects it. We have a tremendous adjustment ability as human beings. The body adjusts to almost anything, and it adjusts to tinnitus, I'm sure. I have ringing in my ears too from time to time. And the fact that you have neuropathy means that you basically have balance deficit in 2 areas out of 3. So you really have to work overtime, among other things, aside from improving the 2 areas you have deficits in. You have to work overtime using your eyes. This is the way I operate anyway. So I would suggest during periods of time that you had particularly strong tinnitus, that you would really concentrate on focusing. And you can actually increase how many eye exercises you do at that time. That'd be very helpful for the brain to focus on a different balance and sense during times of disruption.
Okay.
There are a number of eye exercises, by the way. There are 2 types of eye exercises, and both are very helpful with balance. One are eye exercises to focus your eyes, and the other are eye exercises to shift the eye ball in the eye socket. So in other words, if you're shifting your gaze from looking down at the floor to up at the ceiling, that is shifting your eyes. If you're focusing on the object right in the middle of your field of vision, that's using your eye focus. Both are very helpful if you have peripheral neuropathy, and they're very good senses to improve if you have tinnitus.
So we have another question that says, will your advice help with drop foot? I am not, I am not being able to roll while walking.
Yeah, with drop foot, you have to improve the functioning of your feet. First thing I would do with drop foot, and this is actually the first thing I would do with many different ailments of the feet, and that is to really do get professional massage. Really do. It is worth the money. It's not that expensive to get a monthly foot massage. It is a very, very good thing to do, especially if you have neuropathy. Unless it's difficult for you to have people touching your feet, in which case I would get a monthly energetic foot massage. You just need a different type of practitioner. That's the first thing is to massage your feet and get your feet working well. And now I've forgotten the question again. Remind me of the
It had
question.
to do with drop foot.
Drop foot, of course. So with drop foot, you also need to improve the strength of the tops of your feet. So one of the ways to do that is to work on lifting just your toes up, actually lifting your whole foot up. Keep your heel on the floor and lift your entire foot up and contract the muscles on the top of your foot. And I would do that repeatedly. Relax your foot and then contract the muscles, relax your foot, contract the muscles, relax your foot. Then I would end that little area, that little time, by taking your hands under your leg and lifting your leg up and flexing your foot and pointing your foot, especially pointing it, flexing and pointing. So in other words, you can do something about the condition of the foot because of your drop foot, but through massage, and you can do something about strengthening the skills your body needs to deal with drop foot. And that's improving the functioning of the muscles on the top of the foot and the front of the ankle. And persevere. I myself, I am having to deal right now with having very stiff fingers in the hand that I broke, the wrist that I broke 3 months ago. And I do exercises 3 times a day to improve this. I see improvement, slight improvement, maybe 1/20th of the time. In other words, I have really found that there are some times and some things that we have to just be very persistent with. Practice, practice, practice. Don't give up. Don't get frustrated. Keep your attention on where you want to go. Use the best advice from the best people you have around you, and just keeping on.
Last question I have, and actually, fellow asking says, I have comments on Ari canes and walking sticks. So you
Yes.
mentioned them earlier. You want to say a little bit more about them?
Yes, they're totally different. A cane is an assistant device, just like a walker is an assist. It's a device that helps you do something. Walking sticks are different. Walking sticks, and I looked online about this. I had a question from someone else that brought this up. That's why I was even thinking about it a couple of weeks ago. And I looked online to see if people who have peripheral neuropathy also, if walking sticks are recommended. And I found no mention anywhere of it. So I'm not sure. There may be reasons why you shouldn't be using walking sticks, but I can't imagine what they'd be. And what walking sticks do is walking sticks give you 2 other points of contact with the ground. So if you're using a walking stick, you're not using it like you're putting your pressure down each time you put your stick down. You're using it more, frankly, more the way you use a walker, which is that you place the stick down to touch the ground as you're walking. You're touching the ground with the stick as you walk. You're not putting your pressure down. You're not putting pressure on that. Now, I'm a novice at this, and someone can please let me know if I'm wrong about this. From my point of view, this idea of using two devices to help your hands sense where the ground is absolutely improves proprioception that your feet have a deficit with. So I think it would be a great assistance. Just don't use either a walker or a cane or a walking stick as something that you're putting all of your weight on. That's not how you should use them. So let me just demonstrate very quickly. If you have a walker, don't go like this with your walker. Have your hands placed on your walker. Walk within your hands and walk looking straight ahead. If you have a cane, don't use your cane like this. Use your cane as an assistance. Place it on the ground with little weight, especially walking sticks. Don't be using walking sticks aggressively. Use them like you're a cross-country skier. Use them just gracefully. Grace. There's another example of use grace as a guideline.
Okay.
I would please, though, whoever's listening, let me know if you have experience with walking sticks and whether or not you like them and whether or not they're helpful for you. I'd love to know.
And we can contact you through your website.
www.building-better-balance.com. My email address, just eliminate the dashes at gmail.com. buildingbetterbalance@gmail.com. You can contact me anytime. I love getting emails.
Well, again, Vanessa, we want to thank you very much. It was excellent.
Great.
I'm sure that a lot of people will enjoy watching the recording as well. And so thank you. And we very much appreciate all your expertise and your feedback and your advice on making things a little better when we walk and we keep our balance.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that with that, unless you have anything else, I think we'll go ahead and end the presentation. It was excellent. I think we had an excellent audience. So I'm really happy about it. And I think you should be very proud. You did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Could you see me during the talk?
Oh yeah, I have been watching. I have you as the main screen.
You.
You're the main screen for me.
I didn't know how to make it me, so
well, that's okay. It's okay.
So it's a good thing you weren't picking your nose.
Yeah, exactly. We have a great day, and thank you again.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.